long. And honestly, we wouldn't know how long it would take anyway. So with that said, if you're just joining us, I'm GrandisV. This is the Joy Dota League Season 4, and this is going to be a best of two between Wheel Wreck While Whistling and Boreal Esports. Well, there we go. This is going to be an all-pick remake. Oh dear, they're putting it on Captain's Mode. Okay, there we go. All-pick remake, and we are going to be going. As soon as all of the players pick up their Euros and load out into the lanes, we're going to be able to talk a little bit more about the draft, but honestly, I'm kind of at a loss for Wheel's draft. They've run themselves with two melee supports, which honestly can't get very much done and are not going to be able to kill or even zone out a puck. Bottom lane is effectively going to be Puck versus Shadow Fiend solo. I mean, you can not count the Treant Protector as well as the Naga Siren out, but they're not really going to be offering much to zoning out the puck. They will keep the lane under control and make sure that Shadow Fiend is safe in farming. But still, it's unlikely that Puck's going to die at all. The loser orb's pretty much going to get him out of everything. In fact, it is going to get him out of everything that Wheel are going to be able to throw into him, unless there's some outstanding circumstances or misplays coming out from the puck. He should be just fine. Mid lane matchup, Lycan versus Troll. Not going to be very happy for Lycan, but then again, not going to be the worst. Is going to be running with a similar amount of base damage and can CS decently, as long as those axes aren't involved. Troll will be able to zone Lycan a little bit, but once the bottle comes through, Lycan's also going to be doing decently. The Doom for Boreal, he's going to be farming up safely, and I think the biggest boon for them is that their Vengeful Spirit and Jakiro are not locked down into that top lane. Doom's going to be, for the most part, solo versus the Brewmaster. You will have to factor in living armor here or there to tip the balance into the favor of the Beastmaster, but Doom should be able to get pretty much guaranteed farm, as Doom usually does. And with some support rotations, killing off this Troll and even killing off the Shadow Fiend down towards bottom is a fairly easy task for them. Just Magic Missile into Ice Path and easy kills wherever they end up going. It looks like there are going to be no changed loadouts, and it looks like everybody's going to be going to the same build. We're waiting for one Tango to be past a Relic. He's loading out with quite a chunk of regen. I'm a Sheep going to place out his word, and all is right in the world as these lanes are exactly the same as they were before the remake. So we're back in business, boys. Yeah, it's unlikely that we're going to see very much action until Jakiro and Vengeful Spirit move, or if they move at all, away from this top lane, as the other lanes don't really have any potential to kill unless there's some sort of nice rune picked up by either side. The early wards haven't been placed out immediately, but we are going to see Beastmaster spot out Futsa with one of his Observer wards. Futsa is rocking out with those Jakiro support items, and they should know exactly what's going on here. If they really wanted to, throwing jungle or Doom towards the jungle every once in a while to give those supports a little bit of extra space could be nice for Boreal, just to make sure that Vengeful Spirit gets level 7 or level 6, and we get level 7 as fast as possible for the Jakiro, so that Liquid Fire spam can come out on or at a decent timing for Boreal, just to make them push that much harder. I think if this game goes longer than 30 to 40 minutes, Wheel are going to have a lot better time taking it. Their supports don't really do much until they have some levels up on themselves, and they don't have great killing potential either, at least in these lane matchups. Jakiro is going to be picking up a little bit of experience as well as farm in the first wave, as Berg munches himself up dead in Holy Aura, as well as getting a little bit of extra gold there, but nothing really lost from Boreal at all, and I quite like it when safe lane Dooms give the lane to their supports, at least for the first wave, and there's nothing the Beastmaster's really going to be able to do about this. Every once in a while, he'll be able to get some sort of farm and experience, but for the most part, I expect Beastmaster to be completely zoned out. He does have access to his Ancients, although it's pretty hard to get those stacked by yourself. He is going to be helped out by the tree. He is going to be stacking those for the Beastmaster himself. There's your first stack, Black Dragons as well as those Ancient Granite Golems. And so Terp is making effective use of the map, although not seeing much experience, in fact no experience at all. It's still going to be serviceable for Treant Protector, just making sure that he's not wasting time, as Naga Siren is needed for pulls, but Shadow Fiend, even if he had support in this lane, should be doing just fine. And for the first wave, it is going to be a little bit of a struggle. Puck is completely controlling this one up, but once the souls start coming out for Sleazel, this is going to be a lot easier. Unfortunately, he misses one of the creeps with that raise, but he'll be able to pick up some momentum sooner rather than later, and at that point, Puck's going to be zoned a little bit by the right clicks of Shadow Fiend, but still should have a decent time anyway. 470 already with those boots, unlikely that he is going to be chased down by these supports, and hasn't even taken any harass. Already at level 3, this offlane's going much better for the Puck, and kind of as to be expected. Lycanthrope in mid actually dropping dangerously low, just a relic. Seems that he got a lucky basher or something onto 747. I was not expecting that Lycanthrope to be in such a poor situation as he is now. Under tower, he's not getting these CS as he wants to maintain his salve, but this troll is completely running the middle lane, and although I'd say troll is favored, I didn't think he'd be favored this much. 747 must have just got bashed. I have no idea how he got so low, but with the region that he started out with, it's not going to be the end of the world for him. Troll Warlord is a hero that we often forget about, but he does run lanes very effectively, and with that mischance, 747 cannot fight up against him, and maybe that's exactly what happened with double damage rune on the Venge. However, they might be able to make a turnaround. The stun doesn't last very long at level 1, and Relic's going to be able to casually walk under his tower, eat a tango, sip a couple of bottle charges, and then he's going to be just fine. A well-needed rotation by the Vengeful Spirit, but unless they have a follow-up Ice Path in order to get that kill, it's unlikely that Troll is going to die. And he'll be at some decent regen on top of it. Venge is going to make her way down towards bottom, and Loki's made quite a rotation across this map that really hasn't netted him anything. Still only level 1 in this Vengeful Spirit. Really doesn't need much more to get much accomplished on the Venge. Really, your next crucial level is getting that level 6, and anything else than that, it's magic missile damage. It might be increased, but it's not super significant. Doom untouched, Troll Warlord completely dominating bottom, and now Shadow Fiend is starting to make up ground over the Puck. After 6-1 in the first 2 creep waves, Puck has fallen down quite a bit compared to the Shadow Fiend. 12-7 now compared to 9-1, and that's pretty much as expected. 470 forced to use out the salve, and now that the regen is starting to wear down for these solo laners, maybe there is a little bit more kill potential if anybody gets a little bit too over-aggressive, but I think that's unlikely to happen. There was an attempted dive, potentially, onto Ima Sheep, but really we need level 6 on the Doom before anything can come out there. Beastmaster, level 6 for him is also going to be a pretty crucial time. When you play Beastmaster effectively, generally you want to be getting kills every time your ultimate is off of cooldown if you're able to. He's going to be going for that Soul Ring first so he can farm up his stack. But unbeknownst to him, his stack has currently been warded out by the Dire supports. I believe Vengeful Spirit did that on her way over. They spotted it being warded, but unlucky enough for the Dire, they don't actually spot out that Observer ward, which is just outside Sentry vision range. So if they just put that a little bit closer, maybe they would have been able to spot it out. But I suppose lucky enough for them, it's going to be hard to deward this without blocking the camp. Mid-Lycan going to eat himself a face full of axes as well. And 747 is continuously falling behind, and the status quo seems to be favoring Wheel, although not entirely so. The net worth and experience is completely zeroed out. Mostly because of how much Shakiro is able to get up in the top lane. Already level 4, 4 minutes into the game. As a support, this is pretty much as happy as you can be, since they have given him so much free space and effectively been going with a dual lane. It is going to hurt Vengeful Spirit in her levels quite a bit, but then again, if you compare it to Derp, it's pretty much the same story. And level 1 Living Armor is a lot less useful than 1 level into Magic Missile. I'd much rather have the Venge in that situation, if there just isn't any openings for the Tree and Protector. I'm a Sheep, constantly eating some harass from the Jakiro, but is able to get experience since the threat of a Magic Missile Ice Path isn't there. Although he might not know it, Jakiro hadn't had a point in the Ice Path up until this point, so the kill potential there is very limited. Tree's sitting behind Relic in mid. I'm not sure exactly what he's accomplishing here. Lycanthrope is currently under his tower, and that's where he is going to stay for the foreseeable future. He has 2 wards, but can't really place them. 747 under tower is decently easy enough to last it, especially with the Wolf backup. So he's going to be able to get a decent amount, and we're in for a very passive early start. Once the level 6 from the Doom comes out, I expect that to potentially be our first blood, unless Beastmaster makes a roam before then. But honestly, I have no idea. It's really hard to talk about these passive games, as honestly, I'm not sure what the trigger is for aggression. 470 is going to be delaying any Blink Dagger of the sorts. After going for Phase Boots, it's pretty nice, boot for Puck, and it is going to ensure him some extra lane farm up against his Shadow Fiend, just ensuring that he has some damage to start contesting some last hits up against Liesel, but I'm not sure if I really like this choice. Wraparound potentially from the Vengeful Spirit. His Beastmaster's a little bit too far forward. He is going to be spotted out by the Howl, now caught inside the trees. I'm a Sheep has no tangos or any way to get out of your Ice Path to start out. Magic Missile to follow up, and it looks like I'm a Sheep is going to be giving up our first blood. Dual Breath and one more auto attack from Loki is going to secure it, as Boreal are going to find themselves that first opening, and Berg is going to start exploding in the farm department. Hand of Midas recipe has been delivered after going for Tranquil Boots. It's going to be an insanely fast Midas for Berg, not to be unexpected. Devour already giving that extra infusion and being involved in the first blood kill. If he had it, he would already have his Midas as well as Tranquils. Puck down in bottom, going to need a Riptide from the Naga Siren, but it's not going to drop very low. Phantom Soyan, that living armor really doesn't help much at only level 2, and 470 with those phase boots, already munching through it quite decently. And Naga is probably going to be forced all the way back to base after clearing out a couple of these creeps in the side pole, and if Puck was still around, there might be some chances for an Illusory Orb snipe on the Naga Siren, but Phantom Soyan should be completely fine. Although dropping dangerously low is just going to empty out his HP and mana pools before heading back towards base. Doom does have his level 6 and the Doom ultimate, but unfortunately for Doom, a fairly mana light hero, and will not have the ability to use that spell since he has been keeping Devour on cooldown. That's going to mean that the Beastmaster is a little bit safer up in this top lane, especially now that he has a little bit of support coming in the Tree and Protector. They'll glyph this first tower, but the Liquid Fire is going to eat through any living armor they decide to put onto it, and they're going to be able to take this without much of a scuffle. However, TPing from the Troll, that's a little bit scary, and now they're looking to find engagement. Magic Missile stun to Relic, fall up with the Ice Path, and Futsa wants to get this tower. He's sacrificing himself for it. Deny will come out from the Beastmaster, and Futsa will die. Unfortunate for the Jakiro, just bit off more than he could chew, walks the other way, but he does secure the retreat of the Venge as well as the Doom, so not all is lost for Boreal, and it did cost them several TPs to get up their wheel, but it's still favorable since they are the ones to get the kill at the end of the day, pretty much just covering that teleport gold that they spent. Yeah, Vladimir's offering now picked up by the Lycanthrope. We're getting close to the point where Boreal can start 5-manning down those towers, and we kind of already saw it. That Liquid Fire eats through that living armor like nothing else, even with 2 points up into it, and I don't think that's really going to change once we have level 7 or so on the Tree and Protector. They're just going to be able to do exactly this, pushing down bottom lane. Futsa going to be leading the charge. They don't have that many creeps, but with the Shadow Fiend farming over in the jungle, they're going to lose some significant chip damage onto this tower, and Boreal should be able to take it before it's healed up by the Tree and Protector. It's kind of an interesting synergy when you look at Tree as well as Jakiro. Jakiro thrives in putting that chip damage on the tower with Liquid Fire. Another TPN from the Beastmaster. This time he's going to walk into an Ice Path. He didn't have mana for the Roar immediately, but now after Soul Ringing up, he does have it on the sidelines. Loki's going to try running away as he roars at the Puck. Puck is going to be able to survive after this, but Vengeful Spirit not so lucky. She's netted down to the ground by the Naga Siren. I'm a Sheep. That was a very lackluster first roar coming out from this game, but I suppose he just wanted to see if they could go for more. A fairly greedy usage of that cooldown, but isn't probably going to net them anything. More TPs spent by Wheel, they'll find themselves a kill, and it's still going to be pretty much a wash in this early game. 0. Net worth experience slightly favoring Wheel, but not overwhelmingly so. This game is pretty topsy-turvy, and with the double damage rune on your Lycanthrope in mid, that tier 1 tower should be falling, but likewise tier 1 tower down in bottom is also going to take a spill, as Wheel are just going to be able to push this down with the amount of heroes they have. My goodness, that Wolf Cosmetic, Boar Cosmetic thing is creepy. I don't know, I don't have words for that. That completely caught me off guard. They won't be able to commit fully to that tower, and the one in mid still hasn't been taken. Relic's going to TP into an Ice Path, but now pursuing onto Susie, slowing him down. They don't have an F from Phantom Soyan, but it's the damage there, especially if they get a bash, they'll be able to bring down the Lycanthrope. Now with help, they are going to fall back. The Invis Wall is going to bump into an Invis Derp Derp, as the Tree and Protector has found himself that Invis rune. No level 6 yet for Derp Derp, so setting up with an Overgrowth is not possible at the moment, but I don't know. Troll. It happens that way every once in a while. We're just going to bash exactly when you need it. Without that bash, chasing down the Lycanthrope would have been a little bit harder, although definitely possible. Living Armor is going to start healing up this tower since they weren't able to fully commit. And really, Boreal, it seems that they're waiting for 470 to get that Blink Dagger. Once they have that initiating tool, taking fights on their terms is going to be so much easier, and I think that's going to be the trigger for Boreal to really start doing stuff inside this game. Troll, there's not really a standard build since it's just a very unconventional hero to see around. But he is going to be going for the drums after Poor Man's Shield and Bottle. Relic's going to be fairly threatening at this point in the game, just being able to run down those heroes. And even though drums in and of itself isn't the scariest of items, it's a very nice one to have, if not for yourself, for the rest of your team. Beastmaster now has Tranquil Boots as well as Soul Ring, so I'm a Sheep is going to be able to maintain his mana, but we have another Primer War available, and he's not really looking for a gank. There's not really a clear opening, but it would be really nice for them to be able to find that. Doom still has yet to use his Doom ability, but now with the Blink Dagger on top of the Midas, that might be changing very shortly. Doom has eaten himself a speed or a creep. Fairly interesting choice coming out from him. I suppose it does beat the regen creep you find, or that he found at the very early portions of this game, but if they do have that Wolf Aura, it could be insanely good. Added with the Vengeful Spirit as well as Vladimir's Aura, you're pretty much giving everybody on your team a double damage room. 15 or 16% coming out from Vladimir's Aura, 36 if I'm not mistaken from the Vengeful Spirit, and then another 30 from that Wolf. It starts to add up very quickly, and they're all going to be trucking. That 58 damage on the Vengeful Spirit is suddenly going to be hitting harder than the Treant Protector on the enemy side. It hasn't happened yet, and we don't have that many points in Vengeful Spirit's Aura. She is only level 5, but I expect Venge to start adding, or getting into that later on. Medallion now picked up by Loki. Boreal might be setting their sights onto Roshan as their next major objective to take. There's still plenty of tier 1 towers standing, however, so I think going for a pushdown in bottom or mid beforehand might be a better option for them, but if this game stalls out, there is always a chance for them to smoke into Roche. They spot out I'm a Sheep as he walks casually by, pinged out, and 470 should be completely fine. Even if they connect everything onto the puck, it's unlikely they'll be able to kill him instantly unless they land the perfect raises coming out from Sleazel. Puck should be able to just illusory orb and jaunt out of there pretty quickly. 470 going to drop an illusory orb, potentially to clear out these creeps, but just pulling off the creep aggro. Nothing else is happening on Wild's side of the map in the meantime, so this is just going to be a clear tier 1 tower push coming out from Wheel Wreck Wow Whistling. My goodness, TP's in mid, coming out in droves as the Blink Initiation goes onto Relic, but with that Naga Siren Song to disengage, Relic's going to be held on the backlines pretty safely, living armored up, and now they're looking to make a turnaround. They do get a living armor onto both of them, or excuse me, overgrowth on both of them, then they blow up the Vengeful Spirit, running away from Berg. He is going to be netted down to the ground. The auto attacks coming out from the Troll, no bashes as of yet, but getting in front of him, Phantom Swain is going to be stunned up by the War Stomp. Doesn't actually matter as Relic secures the double kill, and Wheel, they're finding quite a bit of momentum in this game, and it's a Blink build coming out from our Troll. First use of Doom doesn't do anything, and I suppose that is the power of this supporting duo. Naga Siren and Treant Protector have a lot of ways to stall and to keep their carries alive, especially through that Doom. That living armor is going to be nice to give them that extra bit of heal, and the song just to make sure that Boreal couldn't do anything. It was a pretty apparent smash and grab for Boreal, but Wheel are going to be able to capitalize on that, and instead they're the ones pushing at this point in the game. They have the 2 tier 1s, whereas Boreal have only taken the one up top, and even that one denied. Sleazel up top, up against the double damage rune Lycan. That's not a fight you can win. The crits are coming out from 747, and he's going to back off. I think he canceled that last auto attack, but he's going to decide to run away, and now might even be in a little bit of trouble as a Troll pursuing on to Futsa, going to slow him down with the ranged axes. Now just give him the rundown, chasing him with the ultimate activated Futsa to fall. That's again going to be a kill attempt coming out from Boreal, netting a kill for Wheel. Or yeah, it's going to be very clean for them. And 6-1, this is not the start I was expecting, especially after the way all of these heroes were CSing. Wheel, right while whistling, just seemed to be outplaying Boreal. Just a lot of very fast rotations. They're really quick on their fingers, and they seem to have a pretty clear plan in mind. Boreal, we're still waiting on Puck to get his Blink Dagger, and I still think that that's going to be Boreal's big item that they need in order to come back into this game, or at least start taking some fights. Tier 1 tower up top is going to be taken, and Troll Warlord, although we don't see him as much, does push very darn fast, and that extra is going to be really nice. Beastmaster down in bottom. Ice Path is going to cancel his TP out, but I'm a Sheep. He has a Roar going to turn on to 470, taking a lot of damage to the Puck. If he eats another Axis, he will fall. Without the mana to it, the Beastmaster is going to die inside the fire and the flames as the Macro Prior burns him to death. Beastmaster probably could have looked for another turn. Yet another Roar. Going to not net them a kill. 470, that's a very crucial survivor there, as now he has enough money for that Blink Dagger. And this is time for Boreal to start taking some fights of their own. Still, all of these cores are pretty close, but up on top, 470 netted down to the ground, bashed down by the Troll Warlord, and that's a mega kill For Relic at this point in the game, that's almost unheard of. My goodness, just this laning stage has been so good for Troll, and he's transitioned well. Now working in towards the Maelstrom, the damage coming out from Relic is going to be incredibly significant. Inside these teamfights and out of it, the attack speed is going to mean that Lightning's proccing left and right. And since you're able to maintain more than one Lightning proc at a time, the Troll is going to be able to just generate a Lightning Storm, doing so much up against Boreal. Jakiro down in bottom, bashed by Relic as I speak about that. My goodness, this wheel lineup, I didn't expect it to work, but they're just running all over Boreal as they've taken the tier 2 tower up top. At this point in the game, I expected Boreal to be the ones to be in firm control, and they just can't find anything. They have some decent map vision out around. Some wards up on the high ground, some lane wards, as well as control around the Roshan pit, but still Boreal have yet to take an objective, and I'm waiting for 470 to show his stuff. He's been farming quite effectively on the puck, but hasn't been able to make his presence really felt, and even though the Beastmaster Roars haven't done much, the Hawk Vision, as well as just the damage coming up from the axes, seems to be enough to keep I'm a Sheep inside this game, whereas the puck has done very little except for laning. The Beastmaster at least is trying to go for these kills, and even though they don't work out, it doesn't matter since he has a Troll to completely clean house. Doom is going to be going for an Aghanim Scepter build, and being able to take away the Troll at this point in the game is going to be really nice if he's able to connect with that Doom. But again, another cooldown. The Boreal haven't been playing around very well. Yeah, Wheel, they don't feel to be under very much pressure, and now into the Roshan pit they're going to go. Even on the Radiant side, they can jump into this, and Boreal, although they have a puck as well as a Jakiro that excel at fighting around the Roshan pit, will be able to contest this in time. They're sure as hell going to try. Roshan already down below half health. They're going to look at fire the tree, but this might just fall too quickly. Song of the Siren by Fan of Swain should secure this one for the Radiant team as an S&Y is delivered to the Shadow Fiend. They'll clean up. Aegis picked up by the SF, and a beautiful usage of this Naga Siren song. Blink in from Berg. He gets a stun onto 2. Now Doom on I'm a Sheep. They are going to be able to get a decent puck initiation onto 2 with the silence as well as the Dream Coil. Sleazel's falling low, but he has the Aegis going to get off his ultimate beforehand. Now turning with a raise. The right clicks almost enough to bring down 747, but he runs away inside his wolf form. Just too darn fast for Wheel to pursue. Now back inside this fight, Shadow Fiend going to start right clicking into Loki, and the damage is immense, and it's going to be an Aegis for a kill. Still favoring Wheel since they're the one to get the Roshan kill on top of it. Naga Siren, I suppose if you're gonna play it like this, it makes sense to pick it up so highly. They seem to have a plan in mind, even though usually you see it like counteracting a Faceless Void with his Chronosphere or Tidehunter Ravage. Just being able to secure objectives with this song has worked out for them, and eventually, Fan of Soyan is going to really get into some pretty major items. He is going to go for Boots of Travel after the Aquila, and if nothing else, Naga Siren can transition to a pretty hard carry late game. Probably, I should say, not going into the Radiance build for a Fan of Soyan, but if you get a Manta-style Diffusal, that's a pretty significant amount of damage that she's able to put out on her own, and then you have 4 heroes on Wheel's side that are scaling pretty well, and 3 that are going to be just so hard for Boreal to deal with. Troll Warlord now sitting on 1600 gold on top of his Maelstrom and double damage rune. Nobody wants to get near this Troll, as Relic should be able to solo pretty much anybody, maybe with the exception being the puck if he doesn't get a lucky first hit bash, but knowing Trolls like this game, maybe that's even going to happen. It's currently smoke time from Boreal as they need to make something happen. This puck initiation around the pit, it was pretty nice, but not nice enough. 0, 0, and 1 on this puck just haven't felt 470's impact at all. And now they're going to try to change that, but there's not a clean opening for them. Blink forward by the Doom. They're on top of a ward now, and that should be that. Puck's not going to be able to get anything done. He reappears, and the jig is up. Nothing's going to happen off of that smoke. And again, Wheel are just playing around Boreal. There's not really much else to talk about, and I actually neglected to mention Shadow Fiend's build. He's been casually farming down the bottom, and I thought, S and Y. I actually didn't see that he was building a mechanism, and I love it. I don't know. Shadow Fiend mechanism is something I think a lot of people should experiment with more. It is very mid-game centric in the build, but it seems to be working wonders for Wheel. I didn't actually see that they had that completed. I just assumed Shadow Fiend went for some more standard items. And, well, now presumably working in towards the Scotty with the ultimate orb inside his inventory. Shadow Fiend's going to be a wrecking ball. Even when you go for mechanism, your mid-game damage is immense. With the minus armor you're putting out and just the raw right-click already hitting for over 200, you don't really need much else. And this might be the game for it. There's no other clear mechanism carrier, but in mid, they found a Doom under Relic, and they jumped onto him with the Dream Coil as well. Song of the Siren from the Naga just is too late in coming up, and that's a clean double kill for Boreal, and a very significant one at that. It is going to be the Unstoppable spree going towards the Doom, as well as another Naga kill to boot. Going to be huge income for him. Not that he really needed it. Aghanim Scepter already online for Berg. But still, this Aghanim Scepter, even though it's a really nice item to have, it's not going to outright carry them the game. But this is a decent way to start down in bottom, pushing down that tier 1. But in the meantime, you look at their mid-tier 3, it's being pressured by the Shadow Fiend as well as the Troll, and they cannot go for anything more than this, but they might try. They are going to smoke up, looking inside the enemy woods. Will they be able to find anything? There's just nobody close. Stream Protector is the one that's closest, but they're just going to end up farming. BKB now in the Lycanthrope. Boreal are getting some pretty significant items, but where's the real opening for them to push? They need a couple more pickoffs like that, and let's see if they're going to be able to sustain it. Boreal are definitely not outside of this game, especially after that last fight. The net worth is going to dip down very heavily, back down to 5,000 Vantage towards Wheel, and the XP also going to be dipping down to 2,500. They can't sit on this advantage. When you do go for a mechanism on your Shadow Fiend, you kind of do need to start snowballing really heavily, and they have been doing that now, but they can't really sit and just let this Doom farm. With the Midas and Devour, it's just innately going to be getting more gold as the game progresses, but meanwhile, I'm a Sheep has been able to farm himself up an Aghanim Scepter. It's a nice choice coming out from Beastmaster if you don't need the blink right away, and I don't think I felt that from the Beastmaster. They have no lack of initiating power. When it comes to that, Troll Warrior generally is one to give the jump. Now they have a really long-range war as well as a lower cooldown war, which is going to help Wheel consecutively take fights up against Boreal and maybe look for some bigger pickoffs. This Beastmaster, the pick really hasn't impressed me much, but let's see what I'm a Sheep is going to be able to do with this new item in his inventory. Roshan going to be respawning in 3 minutes. Both teams have already shown that they have really good teams at taking down the Roshan, or at least Wheel have shown that they have a really good team at taking down the Roshan, just with the amount of auras that they have. Down in bottom, Treant as well as Naga Siren are going to be backing up Relic, and it looks like a pretty obvious bait. Now it's Shadow Fiend in the lane. Not really a bait anymore, it's just going to be a straightforward push. This tier 2 tower is going to take a lot of heat. They're backing off as the glyph has been popped, but now both in range for him. Relic as well as the Shadow Fiend going to be able to drop it low. They jump forward, get a Doom onto Sleaza, but with the Song of the Siren to delay, they're probably going to be able to walk out cleanly if they want to, or re-engage if necessary. BKB popped the Lycanthrope. He's coming in like a freight train. Dream Coil onto 2. Song of Siren not available. There is going to be a Roar onto 747, but no further damage into this Lycan. Just delaying. The Overgrowth also going to be delaying, and now the Troll going to be joining the party. Right-clicking into Berg. Doesn't get the bash. Maelstrom procs are doing some pretty significant damage, but not enough. Still chasing onto the backlines. Puts a man fighting up against Phantom Soyan, but he's in between a double damage Lycanthrope and his support. It's going to start munching down into Phantom Soyan. The axes come through to kill off the Jakiro. Now the Lycanthrope is going to be turned on with the raises. It's too much damage, and Wheel, they just seem to be running all around Boreal. The ultimates come out. Dream Coil, the Lycanthrope ultimate, the Doom, and then you press that reset button. Phantom Soyan just going to be able to stop everything in its tracks, and Boreal haven't been able to do anything about it. After that, they try to take an engagement. Now 12 and 4. It's Wheel's turn to start pushing the high ground. 2-3 tower falling very quickly, even with no Troll ultimate drop. The glyph was already spent. Now Roar on the sidelines. They found the puck and just obliterate him. The burst damage is pretty insane coming out from these heroes, and that's going to be a clean set of racks at 24 minutes in. If you told me just based on these drafts that one team would be taking racks at 24 minutes, I'd expect it to be Boreal, but they've just never gotten off of the ground, even though Doom is pretty darn rich and compares decently net worth to the Troll and the Shadow Fiend. He just does nothing with these items, and it doesn't matter. He's able to jump in and get a Blink Doom, but that's about it, and that's what we've seen in good game. They're pretty much out of it. Now Doom's going to fall before the Ancient explodes. Wheel definitely impressing me with this first game. Not really with the draft. I still think that going for something a little bit more standard might have worked out better for them, but in their play, and well, maybe it is just the draft. I think even though it is peculiar, they play it well, and I think that's what makes drafts really work. And even though Boreal in a conventional game have a really solid draft, they didn't play it to perfection, and Wheel were able to just run away with an early game advantage. Thanks for watching. That's not going to be it. We have another game in this best of 2 series. Let's see if Boreal are going to be able to come back into the series in game number 2, coming up shortly.